I would first like to call this meeting to order. And in case we are going to have some business to run, Secretary Correll, do we have quorum?
We do not.
Not yet.
It's unlikely we'll ever meet quorum because we need to keep in mind the University Council is over 700 members.
That's true. Thank you so much. So I'm going to present to you the agenda for today. Like I mentioned before, it's a very busy agenda. And first of all, thank you to all the deans who have kindly agreed to give us updates on their corresponding colleges and schools. We are going to hear after that from the Staff Senate, followed by the student government, and then from our university president and provost. At the end, we are going to have a Q&A session. So to this end, please submit your questions via the Q&A feature via Zoom. We are going to try to keep it all within the allotted time frame and hopefully finish on time at 4:30. So the university legislator, as you know, is built by many parts. So what is the University Council? The University Council, like Scott, Secretary Correll just mentioned, includes many participants, over 700, and it includes all faculty of any rank, professional librarians, administrators, employee of UND. The council meets at least once a semester, and a quorum of 25% is needed in order to establish conduct council business. Senators are elected by the members of the council, and recently we have received updated election results, and I want to congratulate all of those who were elected in the UND Senate for their continuous work and support of the UND. So the University Senate last year, prior to the academic year 2021-2022, was comprised by 22 standing committees. Within this academic year 2021-2022, we approved, the University Senate has approved 2 more committees. One committee, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and the other committee, which is the University Campus Safety Committee. As such, this is how the diagram looked all the way prior to this academic year of all the committees involved in the activity of the university, and starting now next academic year for sure, we are going to see a much more elaborate diagram with those 2 additional committees included. Those 2 committees are already active, and they have selected their members already. Next, our first speaker for today is Dean Amy Henley of the Nistler College of Business and Public Administration. And I will stop sharing my screen to allow Dean Henley to share her screen. Thank you. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Cristina. Starting to share now. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Cristina, and thank you to the University Council for giving us a few minutes to update you on the Nistler College and all the great things that are going on here. I won't take too much of your time today, but we do have some exciting changes or exciting updates. Our biggest one, of course, is that we're going to be in our new building come next academic year. And we are very excited. This dream is at least 15 years in the making. And so that's what we dreamed about, the sketch here, and then our reality shows that we're almost ready. And we're really excited to be in these new learning spaces and our faculty to have new collaboration and research spaces. So that's our biggest update right now. And we hope the construction will be finished, at least in our part of our neck of the woods, by the summer before other programs on campus start moving forward into their construction phases. So we've had a really busy year, just even while the construction's been going on. We have two new programs, or two existing programs, that are fully online now, marketing and management. And we also have political science that's fully online through our PSPA department. We put our entire business core to have an online option as well, which allows us the economies of scale to add other degrees, such as accounting, finance, and econ. So I know accounting is next up to also be offering their degree online. We're really excited about minors that we've added, for example, professional sales. We've had students really take to these minors to combine them with majors that are in the Nistler College or outside of the Nistler College. We're excited about both of those opportunities. So for example, the entrepreneurship minor or professional sales minor can be a great addition to degrees in other colleges like engineering, arts and sciences, education, et cetera. So we're very excited about the minors and hoping that they can integrate even more fully on campus. This is our first year of the Middleton School of Entrepreneurship and Management. This gift and this naming happened last year when we weren't on campus. So we've been really excited to be able to share the Middleton School this year. We had a ton of events that we were back in person for so many of them, and we had many things to celebrate thanks to our friends and alumni. And so we had lots of events this academic year, homecoming, and we had Eye of the Hawk lecture, and we had several events, the leadership summit that Dr. Armacost spoke at as the keynote speaker. And just last week, I think many of you attended our Be Bold Women in Leadership Summit. We were excited to have Melanie Linder, for example, be on that panel. So we've enjoyed getting back into the fray of events this particular year. One thing that was particularly important also was our AACSB accreditation visit that happened just a few weeks ago in mid-April. We have not gotten the final results from that visit yet, but we are very excited that we had prepared well, and our team seemed to be very enthusiastic about their visit here. A big initiative in the college during the last academic years has been a revised faculty handbook. We had several documents that were created under different individuals and may not speak to each other all that well, and sometimes they contradicted one another. So we created a new faculty handbook that has multiple chapters to encompass all of the different components of the faculty responsibilities, and we're really excited about that. We had career fairs, virtual and on campus. Our Pancratz Career Development Center just had a mentor celebration this past Friday night, where we had a dinner where the mentors and their mentees came together, and this was a record year for that program, as well as for the professional closet that's part of the Pancratz Career Center. We have given out 606 clothing items and accessories this year to 375 students. So we are really focused holistically here on the student and how we can support them in the immediate term and in the long term. So for example, we had social media initiative where our students took over our social media, and we focused on health and mental health initiatives and how to share with them where services are on campus. In terms of enrollment and fiscal outlook, we seem very stable, which is a great thing to hope for right now, at least from our perspective strategically. So we would like to grow our number of undergraduate students. As you see, we're pretty flat between 20 and 21. We think that the marketing campaigns and the outlooks associated with our new building will help us grow in that way too. But we have to take a real critical eye as how we take advantage of that in Nistler College and how we get that message out to recruit more students to campus. Our graduate student numbers are staying pretty solid as well at around 350, but it's important to know that just 3 years ago, those numbers were half of that. So we've grown a great deal in graduate enrollment, but we've been able to maintain it. And I'm proud to say we just set a scholarship record, at least for our college, we've recently awarded over $1 million this fiscal year to students in scholarships. So I won't go through each major. Obviously, we don't have time for that, but I did want to show a breakdown of where the Nistler students tend to be. And one thing that I like about looking at this degree of detail is showing the diversity of our students and how they're spread all across our traditional business disciplines, as well as our political science and public administration disciplines. So I'm pleased with the variety we have across the college. As I mentioned in the faculty handbook, we really are proud of that document. It provides workload allocations that vary based upon where an individual faculty's strengths are. And so higher research faculty can invest in greater research time, whereas higher teaching faculty can invest in more classes, and their performance expectations are adjusted accordingly. So we are very pleased that was finalized in February, and we think it'll set a strong tone going forward in the culture in the college as well. As I mentioned, we had our pre-visit in October and our official visit in April. And many folks on campus helped us out with that visit. So we appreciate everyone's support, and we think the visit went extremely well. And so the team will make their recommendation. And then in June, the AACSB board will meet to approve that recommendation. So we should have official good news in June. Every 3 years, we also revive our journal quality list to look at whether organizations or whether journals have changed during that time, or whether they should be ranked differently or new journals should be added. So that 3-year process was supposed to start last year during COVID. It took a little longer than we originally planned to, but I think that's due to the leadership of Dr. Brandon McAlexander, and all the individuals who were on that particular committee have worked very hard to review that journal quality list and determine if things are appropriately ranked and rated. We're excited that this endowment period, we have been able to utilize almost $2 million in funds from our endowments. As you see, the total Nistler endowment amount runs about $67.5 million. And we have incredible donors, friends, alumni, organizations, foundations that are very supportive of the Nistler College. And therefore, you see the payouts that we're able to offer students every year, as well as our faculty. And just to give you a little insight, we've got some construction pictures of the new building. We're really excited that this is going to be a community engagement plaza. You see a picture here with a big auditorium that we can utilize for the full square footage and host wonderful events. So the Nistler College is really looking forward to utilizing so many of these spaces. Our key goal in this new home was collaboration and community. So we created a lot of spaces for students and faculty and staff to come together and create that community and to collaborate one with another. So we had big hubs, and we had beautiful classrooms that have a ton of light and a ton of great windows. So we're super excited about moving into that space and teaching in that space, and students are looking forward to taking classes there. And if you still would like to be involved in the College of Business and Public Administration new building, there are certainly ways to be involved. We have a shareholder society, and we have over 300 individuals right now taking part in that. So we are so proud of the diversity of contributions and support that we've received. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. A very, very interesting presentation, Dean Henley. Next, we are going to hear from Dean Brian Tande from College of Engineering and Mines. The mic is yours.
All right, well, I am a little bit jealous of Amy being where they're at with their new building. We're kind of at the front end of a process of looking at our facilities, and that may eventually lead to a new building for CEM, but it's a long ways away and a lot of work from now. But congratulations to Amy for all the hard work raising funds for that building. So thanks everybody for your time. I've got a few highlights from the past year that I want to share, and also I want to talk about some of our goals for the future. So in terms of our enrollment, I would say similar to College of Business, we've essentially maintained our enrollment. I think our headcount was down slightly in the fall, but up slightly in the spring. Student credit hours, are down a bit because a lot of what we're seeing is an increase in online students who tend to be part-time and a bit of a decrease in on-campus students. So that's something we're watching very carefully and trying to make sure that we're attracting as many on-campus students as we can. On the research side, we've grown quite a bit. I'll show you some data in a little bit. We're going to be at about 9 million this year, and we hope to continue that growth. A few other highlights: we opened our drilling and completions lab and research facility, which is offsite up in the industrial park. That houses our drilling equipment, our field scale drilling and completions equipment, as well as our rare earth element pilot plant. And we just received another 3 million in support from the North Dakota Industrial Commission just a couple of months ago to continue some of that work that's going on there. Although a big thing across the university is our national security initiative, and to support our space and national security research and education, we were able to receive about $14 million this last year from the state. And so along with arts and sciences and aerospace, we'll be developing some really great new capabilities in materials research, in space and satellite operations, satellite design and assembly, and so on. So we'll be looking to really grow our portfolio of research in that area moving forward. In the college, we hired a new director of our Harold Ham School of Geology and Geological Engineering. A lot of opportunities in geology. As our governor likes to say, we've hit the geological jackpot, and I felt we needed a bit of a new direction in that school. And so we were able to hire externally a new director who comes to us from Colorado State and is very familiar with the state, with the Bakken, and so on. So we're happy to have him on board. We also launched some activities out in Western North Dakota. One of my goals is to increase our presence in Western North Dakota and our ties to state agencies and so on. So we actually recruited back a former faculty member who is going to be based in Bismarck and really interface with the state, go around to schools and some of our 2-year college partners and build those connections as well. That's already led to a really nice project with the Department of Water Resources that will help support students and faculty as well. And then a big thing that just came out recently was the funding that we received from the North Dakota Department of Transportation to create our Transportation Technology Research Institute. And so that will be really a UND-wide effort, funded in part by the state, but really I think there's a much bigger picture there where we can use some of these state funds to go after much larger federal dollars. Initially, what they want us to focus on are structures, materials, and the use of autonomous systems in transportation. And so that support will be used to pay for students to work directly on DOT projects, as well as faculty and research staff as well. But again, this is a UND-wide effort, and there's a lot of opportunity out there for us together to go after some really large pots of research funding to support transportation and infrastructure in general. So really excited about that. Okay, looking forward, biomedical engineering is a new program that we're going to start at the bachelor's level this fall. We've had existing graduate programs for several years, but this will be a first, the launch of the bachelor's program. And so we're already expecting an incoming class of 20 to 30 students based on applications, admits, and deposits already paid. That will be a mix of on-campus and online, similar to almost all of our other programs in the college. It will be offered online, and those really target those adult learners, who typically are part-time students. But it's a great opportunity for those folks to develop new skills in an industry that seems to be rapidly growing. To support that, we're going to be hiring 4 new faculty positions. We're in the process of interviewing and making offers as we speak. The program will be based upon what we're calling innovation-based learning. And that will be basically where students will be working directly with companies on the development of new technologies and new products. And this is going to be really closely aligned with the Senior Healthcare Innovation Consortium that's just been launched this year. And so UND is a partner in that consortium, along with the North Dakota Bioscience Association, a local company, Edgewood Healthcare, the Center for Innovation is part of it, as well as several medical device startups that really, some are based in North Dakota, but really this is open to companies across the country. And the focus is to develop those new technologies and new devices to make the lives of seniors safer, healthier, et cetera. And so this is a mechanism through which we really hope to bring a lot of great projects to our students, and it'll be integrated directly into our new undergraduate program and our existing graduate programs as well. So tons of opportunities here really across campus. So, we're part of it. Center for Innovation is part of it, but certainly lots of opportunities for faculty in the School of Medicine and nursing, and business, and really lots of other parts of campus. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me or Amy Henley Amy Whitney in the Center for Innovation, and we can get you involved in this. All right, so just want to talk about a few new goals for the college. And so if I look across the college and talk to our faculty and staff about what our most significant needs are, one of the most urgent things is more faculty. And for a number of reasons, our student to faculty ratio is a bit too high, especially in certain areas. Some of our faculty working in really high demand areas are pretty overloaded. And so one of our biggest priorities is to add faculty. Our facilities, as I mentioned earlier, we are going down this master planning path of trying to determine what our facilities should be. But really, we do have a critical need for space for some of these new research activities that we have, new faculty and grad students that we're bringing on board. Oops. And then part of that is support for PhD students. So as I mentioned earlier, we have grown from under 4 million to up to almost 9 million this year. I think we'll be even a bit higher next year, but the ultimate goal is to get to continue that growth. And I see no reason, given the opportunities that we have, to get up to $20 million by 2030. So this is part of a vision that I'm rolling out to the college that I'm calling 2020 by 2030. And so that first 20 is to get $20 million a year in research, again, up from 9 million currently. That will help us support UND's overall goal of getting to R1 and allow us to grow our PhD numbers, which is one of the things we need to do to get to R1. The other 20 in that is to try to bring our student to faculty ratio down to 20:1. So currently overall across the college, we're at about 30, but some departments like mechanical engineering and civil engineering, for example, are greater than 50. And I think in the case of civil, it's almost 60. So to get to that ratio, we're looking at a need for over 40 additional faculty. So it's an aggressive set of goals. I think these two goals really work well together. And if we can continue our growth in research and offset some of those faculty salaries with external funding, I think we can achieve these goals by 2030. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is by investing in a few really focused research areas. So we currently have energy studies responsible for probably 2/3 of the research in the college. Over the last couple of years, we've invested over $1 million in several new areas around artificial intelligence, infrastructure, materials and manufacturing, and also that drilling and completions lab that I mentioned earlier. We're also a big part of a few UND-wide initiatives like space and national security and autonomous systems. We're going to be supporting faculty working in those areas as well. And then biomedical engineering and water and maybe more generally natural resources is another area in which we've got a cluster of faculty member doing great things that we're going to invest and continue to promote. So that's how I hope, that's overall the strategy of us getting to 20 million a year. We're going to be doing some reorganization in our research division and forming what we're going to call the Research Institute, basically taking our current Institute for Energy Studies and broadening the scope to include some of these additional areas, and then making targeted investments in those areas to grow research. So All right, I probably used up all my time. Thanks for your attention, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dean Tande. Yes, we have a very busy agenda, and I very much appreciate the speakers to try to compress the presentation within the allotted timeline. The next speaker for today is Dean Michael McGinnis of School of Law. Unfortunately, Dean McGinnis couldn't make it, but he did send us a recorded presentation. So here it goes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike McGinnis, Dean of the School of Law, and it's my pleasure to present this update from the law school for you. I regret that I could not be with you live when we're recording this video. At the time you view this on Tuesday, I will be traveling back from Delaware, where I've been attending the memorial service for retired Delaware Supreme Court Justice Randy J. Holland, for whom I clerked almost 30 years ago. So it's my pleasure to be able to present this video to you, to give some updates on what's going on at the law school this year and some things to look ahead for. So first, I'd like to provide a shout out to our great UND students at the law school, the trial team, who won their regional competition this February and then advanced to the national competition in Texas. Congratulations to each member of the team, Kirsten Allen, Haley Borgen, Anna Ingersoll, and their amazing coach, Professor Denitza Heinrich. She did a tremendous job coaching them as always, and we're so proud of their accomplishments. We also have a few faculty we hired this year who are going to be starting with us this fall. Excited to have 4 coming to join us on the tenure track. The first is Blake Klickner, who is currently a visiting faculty member at Washburn University School of Law. His expertise includes both law and technology, cybersecurity, and civil litigation. Second, we have Dan Luerens, who is currently a lawyer with the Native American Rights Fund. His expertise includes both Indian law and civil litigation. Next, we have Dr. Tande Oaunmi, who is currently a visiting faculty member at the University of Oregon School of Law. His expertise includes energy, oil and gas law, along with property and environmental related topics. And finally, we have Carolyn Williams, who is currently an associate professor of legal writing and an assistant clinical professor of law at the University of Arizona. Her expertise includes legal research and writing, simulation of law practice, and the scholarship of teaching and learning. So we're delighted to have them joining us. It's going to be a great boost to both our faculty and to our curriculum that we can provide to our students. So it'll be great to have them on board. Next, I'd like to congratulate one of our current professors, Professor Alexandra Sickler, who recently was awarded the Endowed Professor title of the Archie Unterseyer Endowed Professorship. So congratulations, Professor Sickler, incredibly deserving. One of the highlights of my deanship was to be able to make this available to her. It honors a teacher and scholar who has excellence in business, transactional, or commercial law. And she fits the bill in every regard. We're excited for her, and it's the largest endowment currently available at the law school. So we're delighted to build on that success in the future and provide more opportunities to even more of our faculty. So congratulations, Professor Sickler. Next, I'd just like to acknowledge the wonderful news that we received recently that Brian Pappas is agreed to become our new dean, who will start in July. Provost Link announced that news recently, and we're excited to have him come and join us. He brings a wealth of experience, both with regard to legal academia and administrative experience. His expertise includes organizational development, conflict management, interdisciplinary collaboration, and high-impact experiential learning. So we're so excited to what he'll bring to the table for us and delighted to welcome him this July. So I feel very, very pleased that the law school will be in good hands. And that brings me to my conclusion, which is as I conclude my deanship at the end of June, I just want to express my gratitude to President Andrew Armacost, Provost Eric Link, and to Vice President Judge Shivers in particular. So many I could thank, but they have been tremendous, very supportive and very helpful to me as the dean, and could not have done it without everything that they did for us and for me. So congratulations, Dean Appoint Pappas, and thank you very much to everyone for your contributions to our success. We have a great faculty, staff, and student body here at the law school, and I think we have a strong foundation for an amazing future. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And for this presentation, indirectly to Dean McGinnis. Next presenter for today is Dean Joshua Wynne, School of Medicine and Health Sciences. Dr. Wynne.
Well, if I'd like to talk about what we've been doing. So the first question is, what are we supposed to do? Well, the School of Medicine and Health Sciences is the only institution of higher learning where its purpose is actually defined in Century Code. So as you can see here, the primary purpose, as defined in the Century Code, is to educate physicians and other health professionals and to enhance the quality of life. Other purposes include the discovery of knowledge that benefits the people of the state. So notice that we have the key three pillars of education: educate, discover, and serve. So how have we been doing on this? Well, let's look at some of the outcomes that have been achieved by the faculty, staff, and students. As far as retention, this is a big issue in higher education. Well, if we look at the retention of medical and health sciences students to graduation at UND, we're at 94%. So that means if a student has been accepted and matriculates here, they're very likely to graduate. And in fact, as far as our areas of emphasis that looks at rural students, American Indian students, and then having graduates who work in the primary care field, notice how we rank on a percentile basis. That is, compared with all other medical schools and health sciences schools in the country, we're at the 100th percentile as a percent of our graduates who are American Indian. That is, we're #1 in the country. And you see also that we're doing extremely well in the area of students interested in rural practice and in family medicine. And one of the things the legislature really expects is that our students stay within the state to practice the healing arts. And notice how we've done over the last decade. Some 10 years ago, we were around the 25th percentile. That is well below average as far as retaining students, medical students for practice within the state. Notice now that we're at the 75th percentile. That is well above the national average. How have we done that? Well, one of the ways is we've really kept costs low. Notice that we're down to the 9th percentile as far as the in-state cost to attend for medical students. We believe that this is critical to try to reduce their debt and thus their desire, their need to go elsewhere for potentially a more lucrative job. This shows average medical student debt. Notice again, about a decade ago, we were at the 75th percentile. That is well above average, and we're now down to the 30th to the 40th percentile. That is below average. We've done that through three mechanisms. One, as I just mentioned, keeping costs low. Two, by increasing philanthropy, and our donors have really increased the amount of scholarship support. And three, by additional tuition relief programs, such as our rural medicine program, where students who agree to practice in North Dakota for 5 years after graduation have all of their tuition and fees absorbed by the state, thus reducing their debt. We've grown new programs, such as our public health programs, under the leadership of Don Warren, particularly in the area of Indigenous health. We've seen a pretty dramatic rise in the number of public health students. The count now is over 80. On a research front, the faculty, staff, and students have really increased our sponsored funding over the years. Let me update this slide. You see that this stops in 2020. If we now go up to the current year, you can see over the last 3 years, there has been a dramatic growth in funding. This is a 3-year rolling average. So each point averages the results for the last 2 years and the current year. Well, we obviously don't know the end of year numbers yet for fiscal year 2022. That obviously ends at the end of June, but a conservative estimate is going to be $45 million, and a reasonably realistic estimate is $50 million of sponsored funding for the fiscal year. So you can see the dramatic growth in that funding over the years. Finally, on the service front, I've already touched on the Rural Med program. We have multiple areas where we touch every single one of the 53 counties in North Dakota. One of the ones that I'm proud of, although it's in some transition now, is our rural surgery support program, where we provide a surgeon to rural communities that often on a temporary basis and sometimes on a continuing basis have no surgeon available. So we help to provide that to those local rural communities so that they can take care of the citizens of North Dakota. So that's where we've been. Where do we look for going forward? Well, the excellent trajectory of the school over the past decade, as Brian Tande mentioned in his institution as well, has been the result in part of careful strategic investments. We hope to continue to do that going forward, especially given the MIRA model, which in essence helps UND decide on how it's going to fund and support the various strategic imperatives and direction. And finally, we recently had a visit from the Liaison Committee on Medical Education that reviewed our medical student program, and we'll hear their review in late October that will guide us in further adjustments as we try to optimize our medical student curriculum and educational programs. So, Madam Chair, I tried to keep within my time period with a brief overview. Thank you all for your attention. I'll be glad to entertain any questions at the appropriate time. The slide that you show on the right, I just thought I'd put for historical purposes. We're now coming up on the 6-year anniversary of the new building. That was the ribbon cutting ceremony back in October 14 of 2016 when we opened the new building. I walked through the building the other day and someone commented, the building still looks brand new, and it really does. But what's more important than the building is obviously the fantastic work that goes on inside of the building, thanks to the work of our faculty, staff, and students. So thanks very much for your attention. I'm sorry the slide presentation was a little modeled there, but I hope you got the essence of it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dean Wynne. And I can say I'm just very proud to be part of School of Medicine, and under your leadership, it has definitely seen an amazing improvement. So thank you once again, also for your timely presentation. So I appreciate it. Next is our Interim Dean, Maridee Shogren of College of Nursing and Professional Discipline. Dean Shogren, the mic is yours.
So I'm here today representing the College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines, and we are happily celebrating our 10th anniversary as a college. We're made up of nursing, nutrition, and dietetics, as well as social work. To give you a little update from each department, our undergraduate nursing program saw a slight dip in enrollment over this past year, really secondary to the impact of the pandemic, but happy to say that our fall 2020 cohort is already full with a very healthy waiting list. And we're seeing students wanting to dip their toes back in to our healthcare professionals or to our healthcare professions. We are conducting an ongoing recruitment for our RN to BSN program. A lot of those working nurses especially were pulled back into the workforce because of COVID, and now they're starting to return back into their academic programs. Our undergrad faculty is working diligently to increase the content that we're able to deliver regarding our LGBTQ+ communities and trying to enhance learning for our students. And we have a diverse team from our college that's working with faculty at the School of Medicine to develop an interdisciplinary educational event for our students, faculty, and staff coming up this fall. We are expecting to see over the most recent 2 cohorts, 108 traditional BSN graduates this summer, as well as 18 RN to BSN graduates. On the graduate nursing side of things, our NP programs are very, very full, which is our biggest challenge, are clinical placements, especially here in North Dakota and Minnesota, running into a lot of restrictions with different boards of nursing from out of state and working diligently to continue to be able to place our students. We're currently interviewing for a non-tenure track faculty position in our psych mental health NP program. And if we look at our spring and summer graduates, we'll be graduating 148 family nurse practitioner and psych mental health nurse practitioner graduates, 15 nurse anesthesia DNP graduates, and 21 DNP graduates, as well as 2 PhD in nursing graduates this year. On the nutrition and dietetics side of things, we very happily got the news just about a week or so ago that our coordinated program in dietetics received full and continuing accreditation of their program. Hardly a ding to be found. So it was a wonderful report, and they are set for the next 7 years with their next accreditation review to begin in 2028. The department is working within a recent strategic investment fund to support a new health and wellness coaching certificate program that is available coming this fall. That is an interprofessional certification. So any discipline is open to look at that particular certification. They're also working to develop an online BS option in human nutrition, and they're starting to explore the viability of a certified nutrition specialist program at the graduate level. They have ongoing interviews to fill 3 faculty positions. And while I know we're not near to the 1 million at the business school, we very proudly provided $44,000 in scholarships to 44 students. And you can see our graduates are a little bit smaller in number, 18 undergraduates and 15 master's students graduating this spring and summer. So that's a pretty good ratio when we look at it that way. In our social work department, they are also in the midst of an accreditation cycle, and just this April submitted their self-study report. They are now planning and preparing for our site visit, which will happen about September 19th. They have just hired a new tenure track faculty member who will joining our team this fall. He's got a special interest in finances from the social work perspective, which is really, really interesting to learn about. They're also currently looking to fill a non-tenure track faculty position. And I am delighted to share with you that the Student Social Work Association is hosting the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Peoples' first annual awareness symposium that will take place on campus this Thursday, May 5th. So we do encourage you all to attend. It looks like a wonderful day of learning that they have planned. And May 5th is also Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Awareness Day. So they picked a very prominent day for us to celebrate this event and move forward to address this concern. For summer and spring graduates, we're looking at 49 BSSW students and 39 master's students graduating. Looking ahead, the college just received a strategic investment to start working on an interdisciplinary grant writing team made up from representatives from all 3 of our departments. They, in working with a statistician who will be coming to our college, will be looking to increase our efforts at external funding and working to expand our RAIN program, which is our Recruitment and Retention of American Indians into Nursing program that is celebrating its 33rd year and previously has just been focused on nursing students. So with our investment, we are going to expand and become an interprofessional RAIN mentoring program that will include our social work and nutrition and dietetic students as well. This fall, we will have our first nursing living learning community that will be available for students in Brannan Hall. We're excited to get that up and going. And we are seeing quite a growing demand for healthcare professionals, especially in our state, which equates to the need for us to grow our enrollment in all 3 of our departments. And so we are strategically looking at that. We are very proud of several faculty members in our college, and you can see that we had numerous Founders Day awards given out this year. Dr. Darlene Hansen from nursing and Professor Craig Burns from social work, a part of the robots simulation project team, and they received the UND Interdisciplinary Collaboration in Research and Creative Activity Award. Dr. Ann Bodensteiner from Nutrition and Dietetics received the Exemplary Course Development and Instruction Award, and Dr. Amber Johnson with Nursing received the VPAA Award for Excellence in Assessment. And then finally, our most recent proud accomplishment happened on the 25th of April when Dr. Glenda Linseth became one of our newest Chester Fritz Distinguished Professors. And so we certainly congratulate her and appreciate all of the time and mentoring she has given to our college. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean Shogren, for the beautiful presentation and very informative. Next is Dean Chris Nelson, School of Graduate Studies. The mic is yours.
All right, thanks, Cristina. Look to share my screen here and hope not for additional technology problems. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, all it's good.
Okay, great. All right, so given the timing, I thought I'd give everybody just some very brief highlights of what the School of Graduate Studies is thinking about in terms of its roles and its goals, the 7-minute version, as it were. So in the broadest sense, what we're thinking about or what we're up to is building relationships across campus, in the community, and nationally to create opportunity for our students, our faculty, and our programs, creating structures of support for diverse students, faculty, and programs, and engaging innovation and development based on research, input, and strategic vision. In a more narrow sense, we're focusing our attention on 6 distinct but interrelated areas. Growth is the first. We've seen record-setting growth and enrollment each of the past 5 semesters. We've also made steady progress in completion of on-campus master's students. Graduate education is becoming ever more important as a required credential and a way to meet student and workforce needs. We have innovative new program structures like accelerated bachelor's to master's and professional science masters that meet both student and employer needs and benefit UND. We are working to meet specific campus needs like ELL that we lost a few years ago, and opportunities that represent best practices nationally, like providing cross-disciplinary core competencies in fundamental areas like writing and data analysis. Next is excellence. It's crucial to have different kinds of data. We have implemented entrance surveys and will be implementing exit surveys to hear from our students and to maintain contact with them. I'm especially excited that UND was one of 10 institutions selected nationally participating in the NSF-funded Council of Graduate Schools Master's Career Pathways Exit Survey Project. Let's not make an acronym out of that mouthful. Over the next 2 years. Of course, all this data requires analysis and communication to help promote excellence in our programs. There are also areas for collaboration across similar types of programs, like high volume non-thesis masters, or revision within a program, or enhanced professional development opportunities where students need them most. Next is development. Whether we are talking about new programs or other ways to develop within programs, our development needs to be strategic. We want to capitalize on UND's particular strengths and serve the needs of students and society. My Accelerate to Industry work is one example, led to the development of a cutting-edge course in the new area of digital engineering, offering a real differentiator skill to our MS and systems engineering and our students. In addition to continued work in national security and UAS, a different direction for possible future development would be professional programs in the humanities and fine arts that incorporate quantitative and business skills. Next is support. We are working to build a culture of support in the graduate school. Mentoring is at the heart, and the new advising handbook fosters those relationships. Belonging to the wider community is crucial for graduate student success, and the graduate school organizes and hosts many events at the Gershman Graduate Center and elsewhere, like this recent gathering at Up North Pizza that drew over 160 students. Mental health and wellness has been a special focus this past year, In addition to programming, we are listening to students in focus groups and surveys so that we can best provide support. One interesting point was that students expressed a desire to do focus groups on an annual basis. It's essential to make student support structural so that it is sustained and available to every student. Implementing best practices like the graduate program handbook and an annual review ensures that all students in all programs are getting the information and guidance they need to be successful, including helping prepare McNair students for graduate school, establishing affinity groups for graduate students and faculty, and working with the local EDC and the city on making Grand Forks more welcoming for international students. We are also engaged in advocacy. Advocacy with internal and external stakeholders is crucial. Students are our best advocates, explaining their research effectively to a wide audience, whether through our 3MT or grad competitions or a visit to the ND legislature when in session. We also work nationally to, for example, advocate for expanding Pell Grant eligibility to often underrepresented grad students and expansion of federal funding for research. Another form of advocacy is recognizing and supporting graduate students in their work. We have worked locally to secure funding to greatly expand our SGS awards and support novel experiences that bridge campus and community. Last is leadership, continuing to develop and grow relationships with large and small employers, including nonprofits, where we are sponsoring 2 interns this summer, will be key to the growth of Accelerate the Industry and additional beneficial experiences for our students. Alumni can also play a major role in providing opportunities, as well as helping us identify and fill gaps in the kinds of training experiences we offer. I'd like to see, for example, students in 4+1 ABM programs funded in their +1 year through an intern, and that is appropriate. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very informative as well. Next, Staff Senate updates. Brian Schill, mic is yours.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Oancea. I will keep this very brief. I know we're short of time. So in terms of year in review, very quickly, we moved our accounting procedure, our sort of staff senate financing, to a partnership with the Shared Service Center. And that's very good because that's going to help our treasurer do treasurer type work much more efficiently and quickly and easily. And so that's been helpful. As some of you know, earlier in the year, we established a Seeds for Staff Success endowment with the UND Alumni Association and Foundation, and that's where we take some of the surplus money we've had from our Seeds for Staff Success program. That's a grant program for staff to do professional development classes, presentations, conference, and so on. We established that, we sent that money to the foundation to establish this endowment, which will hopefully grow that fund over time. And we, of course, managed several events over the academic year here, things like 31 Days of Glory fundraiser, Spring Fling, a recent faculty and staff event at Archives Copy House, and many other recognition events, both for staff and, of course, faculty as well, always welcome. In terms of the structure of the leadership itself, again, I'm going to be ending my term as president this month. So we've been working on elections and then transitioning leadership, of course. Elections have gone well. We are going to have, for the next iteration of Staff Senate, a mostly full cohort. I think we'll be almost fully subscribed with all the Staff Senate positions should be filled from all the various divisions. And that's a good thing. So to that end, the officers of the next Staff Senate are almost also always, or they entirely are, a repeat from this current leadership group. So we'll have a lot of consistency and very little or no turnover at all amongst the leadership of Staff Senate, which I think is important for Staff Senate. And maybe to that end, I guess, again, I'm going to be off as Staff Senate president. We're transitioning to a new president, and I guess that I will turn things over to her. So Paula Cox will be the new president of Staff Senate. And Paula, you're welcome to introduce yourself and say hey and take it from here.
Hi, I'm Paula Cox. I will be starting my term in this month as president of the Staff Senate. And we did do our vice president Staff Senate election, and that went to Andrea Spaeth from the Workwell Center. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both Brian and Paula.
Thank you.
Next, we are going to hear from Kaelan Reedy, student government updates.
Yes, hello everyone. It has been a fantastic year for our student government. It's really difficult for me to list everything that we've done in a single report. We work to enhance experiential learning opportunities through programs like Intern, GF, and Ripen. We increased our support for our career services on campus. We partnered with our UND Counseling Center and Student Health Services to aid our campus's mental health through the Green Bandana program and enhancing our counseling center hours. We work to expand our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives on campus. And of course, we also funded numerous general projects such as this week's Fetty Wap concert for general student enjoyment. That's just a few of the projects that I was able to remember and quickly jot down so I would mention them. I feel comfortable saying that it has been a fantastic year for our leadership. I'm not going to lie, I came into the year feeling a little bit worried for our student body as we were coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, Zoom University, that sort of thing. But I can definitely say now, a year in, that there's a lot of energy on campus. There's a lot of excitement in our student body. And I'm very happy to see where UND is going to go as an alumni, because I'm graduating. So a couple weeks ago, rather, we had our student government elections. And this week, our student senate is going to confirm the new president, Faith Wall, and the new vice president, Morgan Mastard. I hope you all get the chance to meet both of them soon. I am very happy to say I think our student leadership is going to be in good hands. So with that, I yield my time. Thank you all for a fantastic year.
Thank you, Kaelan, and congratulations for your graduation. And we wish you the best for your future career and future studies. Thank you. Next, we are going to hear from President Andy Armacost and Provost Eric Link on university updates. The mic is yours.
Cristina, thank you so much. I'll start us off and take us through a few minutes and then hand things off to President Armacost. I know that we're just a few minutes behind. I'll try to move things along here. I do want to start by pointing out that we had the honor to receive a really nice award recently. WICHE, the Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education, gave UND its 2022 Colleagues' Choice Innovation Award to celebrate all of our work across campus on OER efforts. Maybe some of you saw the press release that went out about this. The news stories. This is a very nice recognition of all of your work, frankly, because this was an institutional commitment across faculty, staff, administration, with the help of the library, faculty, designers, Tada, you name it, folks were involved in this work. So thank you for helping to make this happen. And we are pleased to be recognized for this work here at UND. I'm so glad that we heard from 16s today, because there is so much great stuff going on across all of our colleges here at the university. We could pause here and spend the rest of our time just kind of drilling down on all of the wonderful things that have been happening across campus. Unfortunately, we can't take the time to do that right now, but every college has so much in motion, so many achievements, so much good work that has happened in the past year. And as you saw in the presentations today, so much forthcoming in the coming year. Of course, in the Odegaard School, the signing of the partnership with Space Force and all of their work at a national level on student mental health and wellness, the thousands that we brought here with Aerospace Community Day. In the College of Arts and Sciences, you see the picture here on the screen, we had the opportunity to establish the very first historical literary landmark in the state of North Dakota, right here on our campus, honoring the playwright Maxwell Anderson. Of course, you heard from Dean Henley today about all the great stuff going on in the Nistler College. I know everyone's aware of this, but This year, we were able to celebrate the naming of the Middleton School. It's a tremendous opportunity and achievement for UND, a great partnership with Tom and Connie Middleton. We're so pleased for all the work that's going on there. Of course, looking forward to opening the new Nistler College in the coming months. The College of Education and Human Development has really, aside from everything else that they're working on, is really working hard to try to help make sure that the state of North Dakota is meeting the needs in terms of teacher education preparation. And they've done a great deal of work recently to try to put some pieces in place to really make a difference at the state level in terms of making sure that the children across the state get access to great teachers and a quality education. You heard from Dean Tande today from the College of Engineering and Mines. So much going on there, so much ambition for the future. I do want to highlight, of course, the petroleum engineering programs receiving the Outstanding Achievement Award in recognition for the Drilling and Completion Lab. We have now, I believe, over 180 graduates from that program working in the oil and gas industry in the state right now. The graduate school, we heard from Chris Nelson today, their work opening the Gershman Center and establishing the Accelerate to Industry program and so many other things. The School of Law, so many of our graduates from the School of Law made headlines in great ways this past year. You see the picture on the screen there of Erica Thunder, who was named one of the USA Today's Women of the Year. And so many others who have achieved recognition coming out of our School of Law. We heard, of course, from Vice President Wynne today about so much great stuff happening in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. All of their work establishing not only the first doctoral program in Indigenous health, but announcing the Indigenous Trauma and Resilience Research Center, the new practice-based research network known as the American Indian Collaborative Research Network, and on and on. So much great stuff happening in the med school. Our College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines, we heard from Dean Shogren today, so much great work going on there, and really doubling down again on our efforts to try to meet the health needs of our state and our region through nursing education, dietetics, nutrition, social work. Outstanding stuff happening across the university, and I did want to take a moment just to highlight some of that today. It's an exciting time to be here at UND for sure. There's a lot of program development going on across campus. You heard earlier from Dean Tande about the biomedical engineering program. I can't mention all of the new things that we've welcomed into our catalog just in this past year. But you've heard, no doubt, about the new BS in esports coming out of the Department of Kinesiology, a new Master's of Science in Applied Statistics. You might have heard about the reconfiguration of the cybersecurity program using the concept of stackable certificates, one of the first of its kind at the university. In this past year alone, I think we had over 14 different certificate programs approved across the colleges. Lots of great stuff going on. Let me talk for a moment about shared governance. As you all know, President Armacost and I share a common commitment to making sure that shared governance is not just something that we talk about on campus, but it's something that we practice and that we put into operation. We've certainly tried to do that this year. I can't name all of the things that have happened across campus that speak to shared governance, including this very meeting itself, of course. But a couple things just to highlight some of the ways in which campus culture and climate is being transformed through shared governance. I'll start by mentioning the revised charge for the Senate Budget Committee. That was a great deal of effort and time and thought this year that had a very positive outcome. And now under its new charge, which was approved by the University Senate, for the first time in the MIRA era, this particular shared governance committee is playing an integral role and a meaningful one in our strategic budget building and allocation process. The Merrifield and Twomley project, we have made sure that as this project moves forward, that faculty and staff stakeholders have a voice in the process. We have kind of rebooted that process to make sure that the programming for those renovations are going to really be meet the needs of the departments that will be housed within both Merrifield and Twomley halls. As you all know, we have conducted a number of executive searches across the university this year, and we have done so, of course, in a way that allows for everyone who wants to participate and to know about those searches. We've made that information available. We've had faculty and staff representation on those committees, and I think that we are bearing the fruit in a positive way of that commitment to executive leadership hiring. The last thing I'll mention, because I know the president's going to mention this as well in his comments, is the strategic planning process itself. This is an outstanding opportunity for every stakeholder on campus, faculty, staff, students, to be able to participate in the creation of the next set of goals, targets, ambitions that we have for our outstanding institution. So please take advantage of the opportunity this year to participate in that process whenever you can. Esports, let's talk about this for a moment. I'll try to be brief here, but we are excited that we are about to break ground on the construction in the garden level of Swanson Hall of a brand new esports varsity competitive space. Without going into too much detail, this is going to set the standard in the state of North Dakota, and indeed, we think the Upper Plains, in quality varsity competitive esports competition. It's going to be an outstanding facility. We are really excited about this. We are already seeing, even before this facility is underway, we are already seeing our recruitment efforts have a real impact as students are choosing to come now to UND in order to participate as varsity esport athletes on campus. So we're looking forward to that ribbon cutting soon. Underway right now is the My UND app. I don't know how much everyone has heard about this, but this is an exciting opportunity for our students and staff and faculty here on campus. This will be an app that will be, I'm told, largely available to everyone this fall. Fingers crossed in time for Welcome Week in August. But this will be an app that will give us a chance to allow a kind of a single portal through which students can not only check out books from the library, drop and add classes, make appointments, find out what events are happening on campus, and on and on and on. So we're really excited about this project, and stay tuned when you come back, faculty, in the fall. This should be up and running. A few academic updates, just a few projects that we are working on and have been working on this year in the office. First, I want to talk, you may have heard about COIL. This is the Collaborative Online International Learning Group run out of the SUNY system. We have joined that collaboration, that global network with 130 other universities. This partnership allows faculty to, within their individual classes, to set up cooperative learning experiences with students taking similar courses in countries all around the world. So this is an exciting opportunity for faculty and students, if they wish to participate, to build into each class's curriculum opportunities for engagement at a global level. I will say, just as a plug, faculty, if you're interested in participating in this, send an email to Jeff Holm, and he'll give you more details about how to be an early adopter in the COIL network. I'm also very proud to announce that UND has recently signed an MOU that establishes our relationship with the New University in Exile Consortium. Without going into too much detail, this is a group of a number of outstanding institutions, many here in the United States, but several abroad as well, that are committed to providing support for exiled and displaced scholars around the world. So scholars who are displaced or under threat because of warfare or other conditions. This is a network of universities that can provide them a temporary home during that time. So we have joined this consortium. I'm proud to announce and expect that we will likely host a displaced scholar in the coming years. Finally, RIPEN, I know you've heard much about this from Jeff Holm and others, but we are starting to see real results from this particular program. I've got a few statistics that you might find of interest. From summer of 21 through today, over 1,000, specifically 1,005 students have participated in a work integrated learning experience in one of the RIPEN enhanced courses. These experiences have involved UND with partnering with 34 different employers. They have created over 37,000 individual experiential learning and high impact practice hours for our students, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So great things happening through this particular collaboration. And thanks to everybody who has helped bring this opportunity to our campus. Policies. Again, this is a topic we could spend a great deal of time on, but I do want everyone to know that we have lots of stuff going on in the Office of the Provost related to policy revisions, upgrades, reviews, audits. The list is quite long. I'm sure that Heather Wages is listening to this right now. She has a long list on her desk of all the different policy documents that she and I and the other vice provosts and the rest of the team are working on. Just in the past year, to highlight a few things, you may know that we've done some updating to the faculty handbook. Of course, that happened through the shared governance process. We have worked on some new policies related to endowed faculty chairs, political activities policy. We've done some work on indigenous artifacts, arts and archiving policies, and again, on and on. So please, when you get notices about new policies, or if you have any questions about policies that we might be working on, you can always reach out to my office and we'll get you the answer that you might be looking for. Two things that we have talked about at great length this year are the HLC accreditation and the strategic planning process. I will save any thoughts on the strategic planning for the president's remarks, but I do want everyone to know that we are on target and on time right now with our HLC reaccreditation work. The criterion teams are working hard. They are either on time or in some cases even ahead of schedule. So lots of good things happening there. And I certainly want to thank the executive committee in charge of the HLC reaffirmation process, and of course, Tim Burrows for their hard work on that effort. Looking ahead, I'll merely say that we are working really hard in the enrollment management side of the house and in the advising and retention sides of the operation to make sure that we are able to continue to capitalize and encourage on student success, keeping our students on track for a great graduation, and of course, attracting new classes of students at both the graduate and undergraduate level. That hopefully will lead us up to commencement and graduation. You can see some pictures here from commencement exercises. So looking forward to the exercises, the spring exercises in the next week or two. I do hope if you get an opportunity to participate, that you take advantage of that so that we can wish all of our graduates a successful journey in their next adventure. So I'll end here with simply a note of how thankful I am to have been able to spend this past year with all of you. It's a fantastic institution, so much good stuff going on. And it truly is an honor to be able to play a role in the leadership of this institution and work with all of the faculty, staff, and students on enhancing the work that we do. So with that, thank you so much, and I'll hand it off to President Armacost.
Great.
Thank
Hey,
you,
thanks,
President.
Provost. Like Eric, I really appreciate the update. And let me begin just by thanking the leaders of the Senate, Cristina, Oancea, Brian Schill, Kaelan, Reedy. Your excellent work this year was really appreciated by all of your constituents. And congratulations to Bob, to Paula, and to Faith for coming in and taking over the reins, and exciting times during that transition. I appreciate everything that everybody's done across this campus this year, just the hard work and the opportunity to create great experiences for our students and for our faculty and staff has been truly extraordinary. And we're hitting the end of the year, right? This is the last week of classes, and we go into commencement week following final exams next week. And this is a chance for each of us to relish in the success of our students and to really appreciate what they've done, the hard work and their accomplishments, and then just knowing that we've each spent an extraordinary amount of time getting them ready for this point. So congratulations to each of you for making that happen. I too have a few slides that I will share, and you've heard some of the themes already from our colleagues, and I really appreciated what the deans offered. And hopefully you see a big giant green screen. Cristina, give me a nod. Okay, good. And what I wanted to do is actually at the highest level provide some key indicators of kind of where we are. And it will begin with just a few financial highlights. And I wanted to give you a sense of where our revenue comes from, just so each of you has an appreciation. This is kind of Finance 101, and I'll throw some numbers on here in a minute. But if you think about certain areas of support, we have the support from the state. Oops, I didn't want that. I'm trying to use my pen here. Okay, so we have support from the state, which is derived from what we know as the funding formula. This is based on how many credit hours our students take. We have the tuition that our students pay. We have a whole bunch of grants, federal, state, and non-government grants. We have sales and services, and then auxiliaries like dining and housing. And then what we'll do is also look at the total revenue, and then the total revenue plus the general fund allocation. So I've just made a mess of the screen, of course, but just to give you a highlight of these are the big areas that we track in terms of money coming into the university. And so if we look at fiscal year 16 through 21, as well as our projections down in green for the entire current fiscal year, which we haven't completed yet, which is why they're projections. What you'll see are just over recent years, kind of a marginal increase in the state support, which again is tied to credit hours. If you look at the last 2 years of tuition and fees, so the 179 to 183, you see a marginal increase, but recall that we had increased tuition by 4%. And if you do quick math, you'll see that the amount of tuition and fees is actually, that increase is less than 4%. So if we had held even, we would have expected a 4% increase. I'll get more to that in a minute. You'll notice though, that over the last few years, we've seen tremendous growth in contracts, and the bulk of that is research contracts. I'll give you a bottom line number on the next slide. So those are some areas that we have to pay attention to. There's some great news in the contracts or the grants, and some worry in terms of how our tuition is growing, and also the state support. So with that in mind, let me go to just a track of the enrollment. These are the total student credit hours by year taken by our students, and you'll see a gentle decline. Now, of course, this looks more dramatic because of the scale, but you'll see roughly from 18 to 21, you'll see a reduction of about 30,000 credit hours. So this is about 1/12 of where we were in 2018. So what's that, about 8% reduction in student credit hours. So this should get our attention, but what this is representative of is an increase in the number of online students, which has doubled over the last 6 years. and then a gentle decline in the number of on-campus students. Online students are more likely to take fewer courses than our on-campus folks. So we have to pay very close attention to this. The good news is deans and vice presidents have done a very nice job in terms of planning for the future. And so when we look at the reserves that we have on campus, we see a growth in the total reserves. This is for academic units. And so that $110 million in reserves is spread across our colleges and schools. Some colleges and schools have $2 to $3 million in reserves. Our largest is our School of Medicine and Health Science, which has close to $60 million in reserves. And that might shock you, but don't be shocked. Those reserves at the medical school are really to back up research projects that they need to make sure they have money committed to federally funded projects, which have a required match by the school. So anyhow, the point here is that our reserves are healthy. They exceed the state benchmark, and it gives us some flexibility to do things like consider how do we adjust for inflation, because inflation, of course, can have very bad results on college campuses. And then in addition, these reserves allow us to look at strategic initiatives. And you heard Dean Tande talk about looking forward to funding faculty positions or research projects within the school. So having a healthy set of reserves gives deans as well as the president a chance to look at strategic initiatives and make some positive changes for the campus. And I realize I've got 2 minutes left. The great news on research funding is we see a growth just in the last year from $110 million to $143 million. This is pretty darn significant. And we'll see what the fiscal year 22 results are as we close out this fiscal year and do the accounting. So the research funding is an important piece, and that money, the indirect benefits that come out of research funding go straight to the colleges that own those projects. So it's research funding is a great thing for us to look at. Moving ahead to the strategic plan, as we think about how to strategically allocate our funding, the strategic plan will have a key impact on this. I appreciate the work of Jim Machorik, of Lynette Kronelka, and the entire team that's been doing great work. This is just a snapshot of where they stand. You see here in front of you the 7 work groups, the names of the 7 work groups that are continuing to do great work to identify initiatives that we can follow on our campus to achieve great things. In addition, Eric had talked about a big award from WICHE. We also received a national award from the American Council on Education for our institutional transformation. So there's a great story about it started with a pothole, how the campus and the local community came together over renovations or repairs to University Avenue. And that blossomed into a series of partnerships between us and the city of Grand Forks and other local units to do great things. So whether it's the adoption of the Space Force partnership, which again was the result of the great connection we have across the campus with the local community, to other physical projects that have benefited the campus and the city of Grand Forks. It's all about the people that are here. And from our chemical engineering courses and Professor Clement Strood, to the pride we feel in the performance of our student athletes, to the opportunities for us to gather and do things that are good for our mind, body, and spirit, and ultimately to our graduating students. This is just a tremendous time to celebrate who we are as a community and what we bring to one another. And with that spirit of togetherness, I just wanted to close by saying I'm committed to the people of this campus and to make sure that we do the things necessary to allow people to have that full sense of belonging and to really achieve great things. And so I have committed to funding 2 key positions that have been unfunded recently, and that is restoring the director position for our Pride Center and restoring the director position for the American Indian Center and American Indian Student Services. These are 2 important areas that our campus has tremendous need for, and we need to make sure that our campus fully commits to supporting not just those 2 groups, our LGBTQ+ and our American Indian students, but to support our entire campus richly and fully, and to come together as one. So with that, I think that was my last slide. So I'm going to back off, and I know I think if my watch is correct, I'm 1 minute over. And let me stop the share real quick. and address one question that was in the Q&A. Professor Oancea, is that okay? One
Yeah,
question.
We are
So
in
there was a question
right
about-
now, we are in a Q&A session. So for
Okay.
those, 1 second, I would like to make the announcements. Please submit your questions using the Q&A feature in Zoom, and your questions will be answered. So I think we have like 10 minutes for the Q&A part. President Armacost.
Right, there was a question in the Q&A that some of you have seen. It says there are discussions happening across groups, North Dakota United, the North Dakota University System, State Board of Higher Education, about the upcoming legislative session as it relates to our current retirement and benefit system, ND-PERS. Word is that the employer contribution, especially as it relates to retirement, will be decreased significantly. What will we do to ensure we keep our current benefits? So the premise of the question, apparently, I just checked with the HR director at the system while things were happening here online, and they said there are rumors, but those rumors aren't true. What's being talked about among legislators is the removal of the defined benefit system. So this is the older retirement system, not the defined contribution system. So for people in the 4,000 through 7,000 series, what this would mean is new employees would fall under a contribution system rather than a defined benefit system. So the contribution system and the employee component of that contribution system is not being discussed or debated. That's not the element of what's being debated at the legislature right now. This, according to the HR director at the NDUS. So that's good news. It might, for those who are fans of the defined benefit program, this might come as unfortunate news, but it's not going to affect any current employees. They assured me this would only apply to new employees.
Thank you very much. And here comes the next question for the leadership. Given the growth in research, will we make an effort to increase staffing grants and contracts?
So Vice President of Research and Economic Development, John Mihalich, and I talk frequently about how to better staff his organization and to make sure that they have the right people there. And so we have expanded a number of positions, specifically related to national security and space research, since that's a growing part of the portfolio. And I know that the issue of grants and contracts is right at the top of the list as well. I'll talk to Vice President Mihalich about the current plans of expanding that role. But I know globally his organization is in need of growth. That's just a general statement.
Thank you very much, President Armacost, for both of your answers and for your very informative presentation, both you and Provost Link. Any other questions? Any other questions? Well, in this case, I would like to thank you all for attending this Spring 2022 University Council meeting. This concludes my chairing the University Council, and as President Armacost has mentioned before, our new university elected Senate chair will be the new University Council chair, Bob Newman, and I look forward to great results from the new chair. Thank you very much, and meeting adjourned. Have a good day.